My father was called Paul Kaizi Lugaize. He died in 1962, the year we got our independence in Uganda. He was a politician. They fought with Kamia. Kamia was the one who was leading the boycott of Africans not to buy goods from Asians and so on. But since he was a tea farmer, he refused that Gundi Musazi's campaign because he was selling his tea to Asians. And tea, you know, is plucked every day. So he refused that Gundi challenge, and there was a lot of trouble. He used to walk about with his gun, you know, these long guns, whatever. He was a farmer, of course, a tea grower. We had about 100 Rwandese working for us, and he was a very, shrewd capitalist, because the day he paid these Rwandese is the day he killed the bull for them, is the day he brewed the beer for them, is the day he did everything for them. And as they were drinking the beer, which he had brewed, they ate the meat, which was also his meat, and by the time they went out of the place where they were paid, he had already recouped the money he had given them as a result of them drinking and eating the meat he had given, you know, he had whatever provided on that day. So I remember him for that, and I remember him when he was fighting with my mother. Sometime he used to drink a lot of gin. By then, gin was the in thing, and he died, I think, of diabetes or something like that. And he died in Nakasero Hospital, which became the Uganda television once upon a time, and now it is where this big hotel is. That's where he died, and was buried down in Misebe, Singo, after Mitiana, like 10 miles from Mitiana. And I think that's all I remember about him. Yes and no. Yes, he was very smart. Even in death, I remember looking at him in the coffin, his coffin. He was very smart. In a brown suit, they buried him with his watch. That was one. Then what else? What did I learn from him, really? He died when I was very young. I didn't learn much from him. I think that's the only thing I remember about him. Smart. We used to sell the tea to the factory of Asians. But he had a lot of Asian friends, including, there was an Asian friend of his here in Kampala, in Mengo here, called Nana. Nana was an Indian who was very good at Luganda. And he used to say, Nana used to come at our home and visit, and we would sit and eat Indian food, etc., etc. And then those Indians in Kakonde Tea Estate, where he used to sell his tea, they would come at home and, you know, sit down with him and with us, eat and, you know, get merry. But the Asians were not working for him. They were working together. They were partners, but not employer-employee thing. The Rwandese used to sing a lot, to dance a lot. I know what you want me to tell you. You want me to tell you about Ruchera Tabaro. Ruchera Tabaro was an, a very good dancer. Ruchera Tabaro, my father cemented his house. And he told Ruchera Tabaro that if he danced and broke that cement, he would buy him a new bicycle, which he did. He danced so well and so hard and broke the cement. And he was bought a new bicycle which cost 50 shillings of then. 50 shillings was a lot of money then. So these Rwandese used to sing, night and day. During the day when they were plucking, they were singing. At night we had the Batouas from Rwanda again. They would, get this marijuana, whatever, and after that they would sing almost the whole night. So I grew up with them, and then this gundi omweso, they want that omweso so much, and I used to like it so much too. So I used to be with them playing that game, and I used to eat their food, sing with them, things like that. I think that's where I got my art gundi skills very young. The Rwandese came from Rwanda. There was, I think this was the group of Rwandese which came because of the political turmoil in Rwanda. They came here as refugees, and they, started working in various places in Uganda, Masaka, and Nitiana, all those whatever, Basaza. And I think actually that low labor costs, they gave us labor which was cheap. That cheap labor, I think, is what made Buganda, added to Buganda's glory in those years, because it is the Rwandese who used to grow the matoke, the coffee, the tea, the cotton. That contributed to the per capita income of the Buganda region, and that, I think, gave the kingdom the growth it had by then. So they were political refugees, really, who came here to seek freedom and at the same time survival, and they labored to achieve those aspects. My mother is the greatest memory I have. When she was shot, somebody yamukuba emundu si yamukuba mundu, she was shot, emundu ne bamukuba esasi. The old women, the way they used to go to susu, they would put up their clothes and bend and do their business. And as she was doing that, a certain guy, he called, by the time we didn't know him, but later he came and he confessed that he was the one, and his name was Kasozi, shot him. And shot her, and she came crawling into the house with blood, bleeding profusely. And my auntie, called Vaika, got a drum and started playing Gwanga Muje. So people gathered and came. They managed, because I was young, they managed to take her to hospital. She survived. That was my first memory. My greatest memory during my childhood. My second memory is a stupid one. My brother we had a sewing machine at home, and my brother put my finger under the needle of the sewing machine, and he started running the sewing machine, by okosota kuno bwati once, and the needle went into my finger. Then I started crying, shouting. So my mother came and, she taught him a lesson. Then my father came and also taught me another lesson by beating me and putting me down from a decker bed, just poured me down there, because my brother was the favorite of my father. I was the favorite of my mother. So now the battle was whose favorite was, whose favorite was torturing whose favorite, So the other boy, my brother, elder brother, my mother was beating my elder brother, my father was beating me. So, I remember that also. Then the other one, when they were fighting, my mother was fighting with my father, and then my mother lost some teeth, 2 or 3, from the punches of my father. I remember that also. The last one I do remember when I was a child was when my mother took my sister, who was after me, by the legs. She took her by the legs and, crushed her head on the cement, So she grew up with this big scar here in the forehead, So those 3 I remember. But because my father was an alcoholic and my mother was an alcoholic, so they used to have these fights almost every day. So I remember that. That's all I remember about, during my childhood, about my father and mother.
Yes, those are all sad memories. What about happy memories?
They are not sad. They are not sad memories. This was my mother and father, so you can't say they were sad memories. I don't think they were sad. I went through them, and I think, to me, I look back and I say, well, that was what it was. That's what made me. Those incidents kind of created who I am today, you see. So I don't call them sad as sad. They were useful to my build up to who I am now. Yeah, we used to go down. The tea estate was close to a wetland, and these palm trees, empirivuma, are fruits from some type of palm tree. So we used to go down to those gund palm trees and eat those red small fruits, So I remember them very well. But of course we used to fight with the birds. We found birds there, and then the birds would run off, and then we would eat. When we finished, then the birds came back. So it's kind of close to a true story. Because the song says the Mpiruvumas were very sweet. Yeah. We used to find them ripe. And we quarreled with the birds as to who was supposed to eat them, whether it was the birds or us, So it's a true story. I don't sing, I don't write, I don't act what is not true. Football. I was a goalkeeper. Very bad one. Very bad one, because I remember our coach in Mpinga used to, every morning, he would take me to the goal gundi, to the football pitch, and gave me 22 penalties penalties, penalties, not ribonerezo, but in the ground. So out of the 22, he said I have to catch 14. If I didn't, that was not good enough. So out of the 25, I always had to work. But of course, sometimes I could catch 5, 4, 9, like that. So, but he insisted that I was supposed to get 14 out of the 22. That was my training as a goalkeeper. So I was one of the goalkeepers. We were two. Kopoka was a Tanzanian, and when he was the one in the goal, I would be the standby, and if I was the one in the goal, he would be my standby. So that's the game. That's the only game I played. I used to be much in the art, in the singing, not in the sports as such.